Good morning. It is now week 8, day 2. But there has been so many things happening. I'm a little bit behind on the videos, but I did want to catch you up on what happened on Wednesday, part 2 of Wednesday, Thursday, as well as the weekend. So on week 7, day 4, I shared that was just such a powerful day. I shared like the experience with the guy who was at the barber shop, and he ended up getting 2 books, just starting with the glow, and then later on the prayer of getting all my Spanish books out, and how I got all of them, including my drop downs. Like, I wasn't even considering my Spanish drop downs as Spanish books, but every single Spanish drop down that I had was out. All I was left with was Spanish glow. And also I got to meet, I don't know if I shared this in the last video, but I got to meet a young lady at the gas station who her major is music with a minor in worship, something like that. And she was on her way to her internship at a church, and we got to pray together. So that was pretty cool, as well as the woman who came after me. It all started with a glow track. She came after me later on and said, "Oh, I'm looking for a church." And so that was just such a powerful day. During lunchtime, it was also Alyssa's last day. So during lunchtime, in the morning, I got a copy of Peace Above the Storm. This is our book that we are out of print of, but CJ kept a box for us so that at the end of the summer we could take some of it home. And then so he saved that box, so I asked him if I could take one, so I took one, and then I wrote a poem on the inside of it and told her, let me see if I have the poem with me. So I wrote, and then it's a pretty long poem to write, and then over lunch break I was still like finishing it up, and then I wrote it on the inside cover. I hadn't finished it completely, and so when we got home, I was trying to finish it as quickly as I could, and she was like about to leave. And then we had also prepared these leader gifts, and then so Hayal was helping me with that, and then everybody pitched in for that one. And then I said, so we told the leaders that we were doing something for Alyssa. This was already past curfew, but they were like, okay, we'll waive curfew so that you can do this thing for Alyssa. And then we're all gathered there, and then it was like, oh, it's actually not for Alyssa, it's for the leaders. And then we come out with our gift baskets, and then actually, Alyssa, I have something for you as well. So we gave her Peace Above the Storm with a poem inside, as well as a copy of GC that everybody signed like a yearbook. And so here is the poem so I wrote her 2 poems. The first poem I wrote her was earlier this summer, and because she always says, "Fight me," I love that about her. She says, like, if something happens, you want me to fight him? You want me to? And then she just go, "Fight me." And then so I wrote her a poem called "Fight Me." And then now this is the second poem that I'm writing for her. It's entitled "Fight Now." And when you leave Youth Rush, I think, because Youth Rush is kind of a controlled environment, but when you leave Youth Rush, you're going back to your homes that it's important to remember what God has done for you during Youth Rush. And that's one of the things I'm scared of when I leave, is that I would forget all of these things that God has done for me. So I am so glad I have some sort of record of all these testimonies on what has happened from day to day, because as people, we have a tendency to forget what God has done. And so kind of a reminder of what God has done for us, and to whatever we're going through in life, to cling on to him. And so this is a poem of encouragement for her, and a reminder that we have been called to spread the gospel. And so the title, instead of "Fight Me," is called "Fight Now." And this is how the poem goes. I once told you not to fight, to lay aside your armor, to enjoy the peace and tranquility of life. But the time of battle has come. On your very doorstep, in your home, and in your heart, war has arrived. The time to fight is here. It will be a fight unlike any other, a fight for your future and your life. I tremble for you, for the task before you is great, but I am comforted. For the God we cling to is mightier than you and I. He is a God of infinite love and mercy. So when you go into battle, put on his armor. Fight not with your own strength, for you struggle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against wickedness and the ruler of darkness himself. For as you reach for the light, his minions descend upon you, pulling you back into the shadows. But you need not fear, for just as Peter called to the Lord as he began to sink into Galilee's dark and stormy sea, the same God who reached out to Peter is reaching for you now. Simply hold on to his outstretched hand, for light is always greater than darkness, and the forces of night have no defense against the glory of the Lord. So rise up, O fainting soul, and arm yourself for war. This armor is not your own, but the armor of him who trains your hands for battle, your arms to bend a bow of bronze. Stand firm. Gird yourself with a belt of truth, encircle it around you, and buckle it around your waist. Here is the truth. He has loved you with an everlasting love, and with loving kindness has he drawn you. And these are the plans he has declared for you. I have planned to prosper you and not harm you, to give you hope and a future. Guard your heart with the breastplate of righteousness, for he who follows after righteousness findeth light. It will protect you from the enemies before you and behind you. The righteousness shall go before you, and the glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. May your feet be fitted with sandals of readiness to proclaim the gospel of peace, for you are a messenger in a world of darkness. You have been called by God to spread glad tidings, to announce the coming of him in whom our hope is found. Take up the shield of faith. This will be your defense against the fiery arrows of the enemy. Through this faith will they be extinguished. To you is given the helmet of salvation, which Jesus has traded for your crown of thorns. Remember, every cross you are called to bear, he has borne before you. Now arise, for the Lord has called you. Take up the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. It is a weapon unlike any other. With it will your chains be broken, and many be freed from the snares of the evil one. So armed, fight. And so that is my little poem for her. I really appreciate Alyssa. She has been such a great friend this summer. And so she's leaving early to go because she already had plans for a road trip earlier this summer, which you can't just cancel. And so, but yeah, that was my little poem for her in the end of week 7. Oh, and then, so we also had the leader gifts. We had like packed snacks for them, little gifts for them, as well as cards from everybody. And then at the end of the night, we all took a picture as Alyssa was leaving. We did a final rah-rah, and her dad was waiting. I kind of feel bad because her dad was waiting for a long time for us to finish up, but we had like so many goodbyes. And yeah, that is the end of week 7, day 4. Bye.